What are some good psychological tricks that work? It's been said that if you need an answer on the internet, people won't be too kind to give the correct answer instantly. Instead, post the wrong answer as your opinion and people will be quick to correct you. Actually, it's, damn it. Giving a minor gift to someone can drastically shift their disposition towards you. There have been numerous studies and tests that show offering something minor before asking for a donation drastically increases the chances of the donation being given as well as the amount. For a more personal example, offering a drink to the cable guy working at your house can pay dividends if something goes wrong, as they'll be in a much more favorable mood towards you. Read Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion for pretty much an entire book answering what you just asked. Drop something and bend down to pick it up if you need to subtly interrupt someone who can't stop talking. If the employee always comes to your workspace to chat, I've heard that you can actually walk them back to their workspace and they'll sit down and get back to work without realizing what you did. Haven't tested it myself. Narrate your life in third person while you procrastinate. Guarantee you start doing what you have to do after 30s of and he continue to sit on the couch and eat Cheetos while watching Law and Order SVU reruns. When you want to avoid confrontation with someone when there is an issue, use a passive voice when speaking to them. Instead of saying, "You sent me the wrong email," say, "The wrong email got sent." That way, you are not putting blame on them. People often get irrationally defensive if you say they messed up, even if they know they did. How you say things can be very important. My HS freshman science teacher always said that if you act like you know what you're doing, no one will ever question you. While I've never done anything illegal, this has gotten me out of some sticky situations. Likewise, nobody stops someone running with a fire extinguisher to ask them why they're in that part of the building. Double quote. If you don't have the motivation to do something, tell yourself you will just spend 10 minutes on it. It is still better than not doing anything, even if you don't end up doing it longer than 10 minutes. This is a good one. Sometimes you get into it and want to continue. See also the non-zero day post on Reddit. Fear of loss. That's why coupons have expiration dates, why airline websites publish only 2 seats left, and why the only way I can get my daughter to eat her dinner is by threatening to eat it myself. Every last one of my 4 kids would say then eat it. Please teach me your ways. When playing rock, paper, scissors, make a point of demonstratively asking your opponent how they want to play, while using one option. I go with rock every time. For example, you could say, "Are we doing 1, 2, 3, shoot," or 1, 2, shoot. Each time you count, use the same option. That is, rock. Repeat at least once more, for clarity, if you can. By the time you actually play, your opponent may very likely have gotten the subliminal impression that you're going to choose your example option, and pick the option to counter it. So, if I picked rock in the example, they'll pick paper, meaning I can pick scissors and win every time. I've used this to win at rock, paper, scissors so many times when decisions were on the line. The trick I have most commonly used is one I pinched off Supermoney to use on lazy co-workers. In my last job I worked in a cinema and you tended to get a couple of lazy workers every now and then. I would get frustrated when there'd be an endless list of tasks to do, without the lazy ones pitching in. So I started saying to the lazy co-worker something like, "We need to bring more stock down, and the foyer needs to be swept. Do you want to get stock or sweep?" This made them feel that they were in control as they were being given a choice, so they were happier to do the work. It worked every time. If you want a puppy, ask for a pony first. Silence. If you want someone to admit to something, or if you want a better deal out of someone, or you want someone to tell you more than what they are, just be silent. This works especially well over the phone. Silence is unnatural during conversation and it makes people uncomfortable. Many people will keep talking and talking, even if it means talking themselves deeper into a hole or offering you a better deal. Priming as a memory technique. Basically using your memory's cause and effect relationship to remember things through a stimulus. Example, if you need to remember to do something in the morning you don't normally do, place a household object in a place that it obviously doesn't belong. For example, put the coffee maker in the bathroom. When you come across the object that morning, the different stimulus that is cause will trigger the effect of doing this to remember something that is effect. This does have its limits for long-term memorization, but sometimes, if triggered enough, they'll stick forever. I have no idea what Abraham Lincoln has to do with a yak, but damn it if I don't think of them as one and the same now. Now you mention it, taking the coffee maker to the bathroom could save me 15 minutes of my morning routine. While walking through a crowded place, try staring in front of yourself and a path will open. Works most of the time for me, especially on busy road crossings. Not just in front of you, but stare where you want to go. It's crazy how you can split a crowd like this. Gain confidence in a situation by deliberately assuming open body language, which projects confidence. For example, don't cross your arms, touch your neck, or make yourself small. Force yourself to open your body up and relax. I'd like to add that maintaining eye contact is a very crucial aspect of projecting confidence. Mirroring someone. By mirroring speech patterns, body language, hand gestures, etc., you can establish a sense of trust and familiarity with someone or even a group of people in a minute or less. The effectiveness is pretty amazing. You'll get some really interesting conversations if you talk to a toddler the way you talk to a close friend. Hey there sucker is a way to start a conversation with a toddler. Asking people for small favors will make them subconsciously like you more. Tested it at work. It really does work. Working in retail, I found noticing the color of customers' eyes usually leads to a better interaction. I think is the extra half second or so looking into their eyes. Calling people's bluff while looking them dead in the eye. No blinking. I totally did this the other day and won. Act confident in the weirdest situations. The I don't give a frick confident intimidates people. I work in retail and I've seen people just straight up pick up some clothes and walk out and no one stops them because they act confident and everyone's first thought is, oh, that guy doesn't look shady. He must have just bought those or something. When you disagree with someone, keep your language positive. I agree with person you disagree with. I think the change you suggest that is the disagreement would be a good option. 2. I work as an editor with a lot of creative people. Being able to keep friendly relations with some people that cannot take any sort of criticism or suggestion is a huge part of that job. This can be so tiring. I call it Tom Sawyering people, but if you pretend a task you don't want to do is really fun or interesting, you can normally trick somebody into doing it for you. Social versus market norms. If you want someone to do a favor for you, never offer payment as compensation. Doing so will make the other person less likely to, and an otherwise perfectly social favor turns economical. The other person starts thinking in terms of loss and gain. I recommend looking up Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely for more psychological tricks. Admitting to little things in work straight away. Like if someone had taken something, say, oh my bad, that was me. If you admit little things really easily, people are less likely to suspect you when you do lie. One of the most effective ones I know is the Superman cape. I can honestly credit this technique for avoiding a number of physical altercations, and also for significantly changing the way others interact with me. Here's the deal. Most people have no idea how to stand or carry themselves in order to project confidence. Not arrogance or hostility, mind you. Confidence. Many years ago, as a teen, I realized my posture and body language seemed like an invitation to some types to come frick with me. I walked slump-shouldered, contemplating my shoes, not really looking at anyone around me. I might as well have held up a sign that read "pick on me." That changed dramatically when I changed my posture, but I found that trying to do several important things at once was not always easy to maintain, especially since my mind would wander. Finally, I learned an easy trick to doing all the important body language changes at once. Pretend to wear a cape. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Stick with me. Here, imagine you are wearing a thick, strong Superman cape that's anchored or pinned to the shoulders of your jacket or shirt. There's a strong wind blowing against you. Feel the cape pulling your shoulders back, pulling your head up, straightening your back. Walk down the street that way, just you and your invisible cape. The difference in how people see and respond to you is very noticeable. They tend to give you more space and less grief. One additional point to this: eye contact. Be aware of what's around you. Notice that fuckhead standing half an out of an alley. Make sure they notice you noticing. Don't glare. Make brief eye contact for a heartbeat or two. Look them down to their shoes and back to their eyes again just one time. Then break eye contact. All this is done while you keep walking with your cape on. What this says is, I see you. I've assessed your danger level, and am aware of you. I am dismissing you as a threat, but I know you're there. These techniques really improved things for me. Neutrality. If you show someone you are genuinely open to both sides of a situation, they are more likely to trust you and listen to what you have to say. I know it sounds simple and obvious, but this is actually incredibly hard for people to maintain. This is why we have professional mediators and counselors. If you utilize this tactic yourself instead of turning to someone else to stand up for you, you will certainly have better relationships in life. Posting open-ended questions on Reddit to source material for clickbait articles. This really bugs me at the minute. Every clickbait article on Facebook is ripped off Reddit. When selling or negotiating, make your arguing point a secondary concern to the primary fact you want accomplished. Trump employed this one masterfully with the Mexico Wall. There had never been an agreement that a wall would exist. By making his arguing point about payment, everyone moved beyond the fact that the wall would exist and started talking about who would pay for it. He never expected Mexico to pay for the wall. He just got the general public to all agree that one would exist in the first place. Here's a good trick I use if someone is talking down to or otherwise saying disrespectful things about you or your peers. Pretend you misunderstand and think they are being sarcastic and ironic, and play along. Agree overly sarcastic like, oh yeah, totally, for sure. Add a wink or playful jab or something. This works great with things like blatant racism or RP jokes. If you pretend you are oblivious or don't get it, it forces them to either take the time and explain the logic behind it, usually making them look bad or ignorant, or if they don't, it's funny to watch them flip and pretend they were joking all along. The advice I've heard is to pretend that you don't get the joke and ask them to explain it. When a baby or small child cries and looks at you, and you know it is nothing serious, smile to them. They will stop crying. Giving someone a choice between two things rather than an open-ended. For example, asking your girlfriend does she want Italian or Chinese food, rather than what are you in the mood for. Not sure if this counts as psychological, but it works for me. Smiling releases endorphins. Do you get happier and in a better mood? So if something really triggered you or you are sad, force yourself to smile for a minute and you will feel a difference. That can be a little awkward when you are in public since people tend to see people laughing while they are alone as crazy, but you can always pretend to check your phone, read something, lock yourself in the toilet, etc. Thinking about a happy memory works too. Starting from the number you want to achieve and counting backwards during workouts, it becomes a goal to work towards 1, then a chore working to 45. If you have a BFGF, Google the 36 love questions. Did it with my girl, and we did feel closer and started acting more like ourselves around each other afterwards. Learning to realize that if something is not harmful, dangerous yet unpleasant, there is no reason for it to be unpleasant. The unpleasant feeling, smell, taste, noise is just another object in your mind, and this unpleasant object can be ignored with no repercussions. For example, a clock ticking when you're trying to sleep. If you ask a silly question before you ask a serious question, you're more likely to get a yes for your serious question. Can you help me tie my shoes? Could you assist me with a short survey? If you keep asking someone if they feel alright because they don't look so good every 10-15 minutes, they will start to think they feel ill after an hour. If you want more information from someone about something, buying a used car or interviewing someone, etc., look at them for an awkward amount of time and don't say anything. Quite often they will start talking. In addition, asking someone if they're okay instead of if they feel alright every 10 minutes has the effect of just sending them into a homicidal rage instead of an illness. People pay more attention to context than they do to actual actions. For an example, if you show up wearing a high-vis vest, a few traffic cones, and work gloves, You can do just about anything you want for about 20 minutes. If I phrase a request in a way that lets the other person know that no is an acceptable answer, they frequently say yes. I've found that I can explicitly hammer on the by all means, seriously if it's inconvenient say no and they practically beg to do it. Johnny paid his way through college by waitering in a restaurant. What's the usual tip asked a customer? Well, said Johnny, this is my first day, but the other guys said that, if I got $5 out of you, I'd be doing great. Is that so? Growled the customer. In that case, here's $20. Thanks, I'll put it in my college fund, Johnny said. By the way, what are you studying? Asked the customer. Applied psychology. Don't ask why questions, ask what questions. Why questions tend to make the person defensive. By asking what questions it makes the person think. What are the reasons for? Why are you so angry today? I don't know, I'm peed off today for some reason. What's making you mad? Angry today. I woke up late because my alarm didn't go off. And my dog peed in the kitchen today. My boyfriend walked right past it and didn't clean it up. Not a beautiful example, but why questions are typically embedded with emotion. What questions are more bullet point style? I have two favorites. Because, and you're absolutely right. The first is great. People are conditioned to assume that words after because are an actual explanation. You can put almost anything non-absurd after it and many will feel like you've explained. The study was to ask to cut people in line at a photocopier. Asking could I go ahead of you? I need to make a few copies was rarely successful, but telling them you wanted to get in front because you need to make a few copies often got results. The second doesn't work in heated or academic arguments, but if you're in casual conversation you can convince someone to see your side of things by saying you're absolutely right that where the blank is a restatement of your position using words they used. BuzzFeed tomorrow. Top 10 psychological life hacks you need to know. Get other people to do your work for free by asking strangers on the internet and pretend you're interested in what they say. Cough in a theater. I guarantee someone will cough back. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.